Welcome to the course Design of Reinforced Concrete Structures. In today's lecture, we are going to see the analysis of flanged beams. The analysis of flanged beams. So, for a flanged beam, the neutral axis will lie either in the web or either in the flange. So that is, if you consider a flanged beam, for suppose here let me consider a T beam. If we consider this particular T beam, so what is this part? This part is the flange part. That is, this part is the flange part and this part is going to be your web part. So, for a flanged beam, the neutral axis, it might be either in the flange or it might be either in the web. So, for analysis of flanged beams, based on the position of the neutral axis, we have 4 cases in the analysis of flanged beams. So what? Based on the position of neutral axis, we have how many cases? We have 4 cases in the analysis of flanged beams. In the analysis of flanged beams. Now let us see what are the 4 cases based on the position of the neutral axis. So the first case is, the first case or the case 1 is if the neutral axis lies in the flange portion. Okay, so one case is what? If the neutral axis lies in the flange portion. Now, the next case, that is the case 2 is if the neutral axis lies in the web portion and if the section is a balanced section. If the section is what? It is a balanced section. So if the neutral axis lies in the web portion and if the section is a balanced section, then we have a case 2 in the analysis of flanged beams. So the next case is if the neutral axis lies in the web portion and if the section is under reinforced. So what is the section here? It is an under reinforced section. And where is the neutral axis lying? The neutral axis is lying in the web portion and if the section is an under reinforced, we have an analysis in the flange beams. That is a case 3. Now let's go on to the case 4. So what will be the case for analysis? That is, if the neutral axis lies in the web portion and if the section is over reinforced. So what is the case for? If the neutral axis is lying in the web portion and if the section is over reinforced. So how many cases we have here? The first case is when the neutral axis lies in the flange portion. So that is one case. And the remaining three cases, you will have the neutral axis will be lying in the web portion, but the three types of beam sections, that is the balance section and an analysis for under reinforced section and an analysis for over reinforced section will be done in the remaining three cases. Now, first we will do the analysis for the case 1. So what is the case 1? The case 1 is when the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion. So let us analyze this flange beam when the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion. So for that, what I am doing here is I am considering a flanged beam, that is a T beam section is what I am considering here. So what is the case 1? The case 1 is when the neutral axis lies in the flange portion. Here what? Neutral axis is lying in the flange portion. So what I am considering here? I am considering a T beam section. So here I am considering a T beam section. So what will this be? This will be the effective width of the flange. This is going to be the depth of the flange. This is going to be the breadth of the web. If we provide the reinforcement here, okay, the distance from the topmost fiber to the center of this reinforcement is going to be your effective depth, which is D. So what is BF here? BF here is nothing but the effective width of flange. And DF, what is DF? DF here is the depth of flange. What is BW here? BW here is nothing but the breadth of web or width of web. And what is D? D here is nothing but the effective. So here what I have considered a T section. Now what is the case 1 here? Where is the neutral axis lying here? The neutral axis is lying in the flange portion. So what is the flange portion here? So this is the flange portion. So where is the neutral axis lying? The neutral axis is lying within this flange portion. So for let us suppose if the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion here. So what will be the distance from the topmost compression fiber to the neutral axis? It will be XU. Okay. So XU is the neutral axis depth and the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion. So from this what can you write down? What can you write down from this? That is XU is less than the depth of the flange. So what is the condition you can write down here? That is XU is less than the DF. That is, the neutral axis depth is less than the depth of the flange. Now what we have seen, we have to analyze this particular flanged beam or the flanged section. So for that reason, what I am doing here is I am drawing the stress block for this particular section. So we have already learned how to draw the stress block. So where is this neutral axis lying? The neutral axis is lying in this particular flange part, isn't it or not, of the flange portion. So first let us draw the stress block. So here you are going to have the tensile force T, and at the top you are going to have the compressive force C. So how will be the stress block? So from the neutral axis the stress block is going to start. So where is the neutral axis? Here is the neutral axis. So from this neutral axis we are going to start drawing the stress block. So how will you draw the stress block? So up to a strain of 0.002 you are going to have a parabolic portion, and from a strain of 0.002 to 0.0035 the strain, okay, in the concrete will be linear. So from here it is a parabolic part, and from here it is going to be linear. So this is how a stress block will look like. So what will be the stress here? The stress is 0.45 FCK. Okay. So here you are going to have the compression force C. So this is nothing but the stress block or the stress profile. This is nothing but the stress block but the stress profile. Now what we have to analyze this. So if you see this particular T-beam section, so above the neutral axis what you are going to have? All this part will be under compression, and below the neutral axis it is going to be under the tension. So when the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion, what you are going to do is you are going to consider this T section as a rectangular beam of dimensions BF into D. So what I am considering here? I am considering this T beam as a rectangular beam of dimensions. What are the dimensions? It is BF into D. Okay. Why? Because the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion. So as the neutral axis is lying in the flange portion, only this part is going to have the compressive force, and the remaining concrete is all ignored because concrete doesn't take any tensile forces. All the tensile forces are taken up by the steel itself. So for that reason what we are doing is we are considering this T section throughout as a rectangular beam of width as BF and the depth as the aptitude depth D. Now what I am doing? I am going to analyze this with the equations what we have derived for a rectangular beam. So what we are going to use here is we are going to use the same equations what we have derived for a rectangular beam. That is, if it is a singly reinforced, here what the T section is a singly reinforced. It is now considered as a singly reinforced rectangular beam. So if it is a T section which has only reinforcement in the tensile zone, if it is singly reinforced, then you use the equations of a rectangular beam of singly reinforced. And if you have reinforcement provided on both sides, that is if the T section is doubly reinforced, then you will consider the rectangular beam of doubly reinforced, and by using those equations we can find out the moment carrying capacity of this particular T section. Now let us find out the moment carrying capacity, that is let us analyze this particular T section. Now let us analyze this particular T section as we are assuming that this particular throughout this particular T section it will be a rectangular section. So those equations is what I am writing down here. So if you see this stress profile, so what we have done before, that is we have finded out the compressive forces and we have also finded out the tensile forces. So equating both the tensile as well as the compressive forces, you are going to get the neutral axis depth. So first let me analyze the compressive forces. So what will be the total compressive forces here? The total compressive forces will be, what is force? Stress into area. So you already have derived the equation previously for a singly reinforced rectangular beam. So what it will be? What will be the force? It is 0.36 FCK B into XU. But in a rectangular beam, you have the breadth B. But here what you have to consider is, you have to consider the width of the flange. That is, in place of B, you have to write the value of BF, because here the width of the flange is to be considered. So the compressive force will be 0.36 FCK BF into XU. So what will be the tensile force? The tensile force will be same, 0.87 Fy into AST. Now equate both these. So if you equate both these, what you will get? You will get the neutral axis depth, that is XU is equal to 0.87 Fy into AST divided by 0.36 FCK into BF. BF here is nothing but the breadth of the flange. So this is how you can calculate the XU. So after calculating the XU, what you have to do? You have to calculate the XU limit. So how do you calculate the XU limit? So the XU limit value will vary based on the grade of the steel. So for different grades of steel, the XU limit value is going to change. So for that I am writing a constant K here, K into D. So if it is Fe 250, then it will be 0.53 D. It is Fe 405, it will be K will be 0.48, and if it is Fe 500, the K will be 0.46. So you will find out XU from this particular equation and XU limit from the values which we have already learned. So what is the next thing we have to do? We have to compare both the XU and the XU limit. So XU and XU limit. What we have to do? We have to compare the XU and XU limit. So if you compare the XU and XU limit, you will get to know whether if it is a balanced section or if it is an under reinforced section and an over reinforced section. So if XU is equal to XU limit, it is a balanced section. If XU is less than XU limit, it is an under reinforced section. And if XU is greater than XU limit, then it is an over reinforced section. So based on the type of the section, you have to calculate the moment of resistance. So now let us calculate the moment of resistance. So the moment of resistance MU with respect to concrete and as well as with respect to steel can be calculated as usual. So with respect to concrete, it will be what? 0.36 FCK BF into XU into the lever arm. What is the lever arm here? The lever arm is the same as for a rectangular beam. It is D minus 0.42 XU. And the similar way, the moment of resistance with respect to steel will be 0.87 Fy into AST into D minus 0.42 XU. So if it is an balanced section or an over reinforced section, then XU will be replaced with XU limit, and if it is an under reinforced section, then XU will be the same. So like this, what you have to do, you have to calculate the moment of resistance for a T-beam section. Okay, for the T-beam section when the neutral axis lies in the flange portion. So these are the equations what we have to follow for calculating the moment of resistance if the neutral axis will lie in the flange portion. Now let us analyze the flange beam considering the case 2. So what is the case 2 here? The case 2 is when the neutral axis lies in the web portion. That is, the neutral axis will lie in the web portion and the section is a balanced section. And what is the section here? The section is a balanced section. So here we are considering that the neutral axis is lying in the web portion and the section, what section we are considering? That we are considering the balanced section. So for a balanced section, what XU is equal to XU limit. So which we have learned already in the previous lectures. So here for analyzing the flange beam, I am considering a T-beam section. So first let us draw the T-beam section. So for the T-beam section, what is this? This is the effective width of the flange. This is going to be your depth of the flange and the distance from the topmost compression fiber to the tensile steel is going to be your effective depth T, and this is going to be your breadth of the web. Now what? The neutral axis here is lying in the web portion. So where it is? Here somewhere in this web portion the neutral axis is lying. So let us consider that the neutral axis is lying here in this web portion. So what is the distance from the topmost compression fiber to the neutral axis? That is called as the neutral axis depth, and it is denoted by what? It is denoted by XU. Now let us draw the stress profile for this particular T-beam section. So how we will draw the stress block? The similar way how we have drawn for the beam. Okay. So from the neutral axis, you are going to have the stress block. That is the topmost part. That is all this part is going to be under the compression, and the bottom part is going to be under the tension. So topmost part it will be concrete. So for concrete, what is happening here? That is up to a strain of 0.002, it will be parabola, and from that the stress block is going to be linear. So this is how much? What is the stress here? It is 0.45 FCK, and we have calculated these distances also. So what are the distances? That is the distance from this to this part is 3/7 XU, and the parabolic part distance is 4/7 XU, which we have previously calculated. So here you are going to have the compressive force C, and here you are going to have the tensile force T. So this is going to be our stress profile. Now, what? The neutral axis is lying in the web portion. So, if the thickness of this particular flange, that is, if the value of df or if df or the thickness of flange is less than 0.2 d. Now let us see first how we got the 0.2 d. Now here what? Here I am considering this particular stress block. So in this stress block, what we can see? We have a rectangular part, one part, okay, and we have the parabolic part. So the stresses are different here, okay. So if you take this particular rectangular part, so what is the distance of this? It is 3/7 of x. So the stresses in this particular rectangular block are uniform. So if I consider that, okay, 3/7 x. That is for different grades of steel. So what are the different grades of steel we have? We have mild steel. For suppose, first let us consider the mild steel. So for a mild steel, the stresses in the concrete will be uniform up to, what is the distance? Up to a distance of 3/7 xu. So will be uniform up to a distance of how much? It is 3/7 xu. That is the stresses in that particular concrete for mild steel. So mild steel in the sense it is how much? It is Fe250. So now let us calculate the value. 3/7 xu. So xu here is what? As we are considering a balance section, xu will be equal to xu limit. So it is 3/7 into xu limit. So what is xu limit for a grade Fe250? The xu limit value is, it is 0.53 d. So substitute that value over there. So 3/7 into 0.53 d. What's the value you are going to get? You are going to get a value of 0.227 d. Okay. So for a mild steel of Fe250, the stresses in the concrete, okay, will be uniform up to 0.227 d. Now let us find out for different grades of concrete for Fe415 as well as for Fe500. So here if I consider the grade of steel as Fe415, okay. Now the stresses in the concrete will be uniform up to 3/7 xu. So it is 3/7 into xu limit, as we are considering what? We are considering a balance section. So it will be 3/7 into, for Fe415, what is the xu limit value? It is 0.48 d. So if you do this, you calculate this, you will get a value of 0.206 d. Okay. So for Fe250, what is the value we got? For Fe250, the value what we got is 0.227 d. So for Fe415, what is the value we got? Got it as 0.26 d. In the similar way, let us find out for Fe500. So for Fe500 also it will be 3/7 xu, 3/7 into the xu limit, 3/7 into, for Fe500 it will be 0.46 d, and here you are going to get a value of 0.197 d. So for Fe500, the stresses in the concrete will be uniform up to 0.197 d. Now coming to this particular point, that is the thickness of flange. If the thickness of flange is less than 0.2 d. Okay. So we have two cases here. One case is, see, based on the values, we have a value that is for mild steel, the value that is the thickness of the flange, that is if df, okay, if it is greater than 0.227, here that is one value we have greater than 0.2 and the other values we have equal and less than 0.2. So in the analysis of particular this flanged beam, considering if the neutral axis is in the web portion and the balance section, we have two cases which has to be analyzed. Now, in the case one is when the df, that is the thickness of the flange, if it is less than or equal to 0.2d, and the next case or the other case is when the thickness of the flange is greater than 0.2d. Now let us calculate the moment of resistance for both these. When the thickness of the flange is less than or equal to 0.2d and if the thickness of the flange is greater than 0.2d. So now let us see the two cases. So in case 2, let this be A, one case, and the other one be 2B. So in 2A, what? The depth of the flange or the thickness of the flange, df, will be less than or equal to 0.20d, or you can also write it down as df by d if it is less than or equal to 0.20. So that is one case, and the other case is (2b). df is greater than 0.20d, or you can also write it down as df by d is greater than 0.20. So we have these two cases when the thickness of the flange will be less than or equal to 0.20d and when the thickness of the flange or the depth of the flange is greater than 0.20d. So these are the two cases what we have. So first we will consider the case 1, that is when df, that is the depth of the flange or the thickness of the flange, anything you can call, is less than or equal to 0.20d, or df by d is less than or equal to 0.20. So I am considering that particular case here. So what is the case? It is 2a, which is df by d. It is less than or equal to 0.20. So if you consider this particular case here, if you see this particular T section and the stress block for the particular T section, what you can see here is the rectangular portion, okay, 3 by 7 XU is greater than the depth of the flange. So if you can see here, this is the rectangular portion, okay, is it or not? So this is the rectangular portion. So the depth of this rectangular portion, okay, is more than the depth of the flange. So what you can consider, that is, it is assumed as the stresses are uniform. We can say that the stresses are uniform. Why the stresses are uniform? Because all this flange part, okay, in this flange part all the stresses are within this rectangular portion only. So in this particular rectangular portion all the stresses are uniform. So as df by d, okay, or as the depth of the flange is within this rectangular portion, then the stresses are uniform here. So this is a case where the stresses are uniform, and this is the case where the stresses are non-uniform, which we are going to see next. So here what? The stresses are uniform. So now we are going to analyze this. So by analyzing, we are going to calculate the moment of resistance. Now let us analyze this. So for that, what I am doing is, for analyzing, I am going to divide this particular T section into two parts. So let one part in this part I am going to consider these two portions. Okay, so what will be the length here now? I am removing this particular part. This particular part I am removing here. Okay, so what will be the length there? That is the width. It will be BF minus BW. Why? Because this part is what I am going to remove there. So this will be BF minus BW. And what will be the depth here? The depth here will be DF. So I am considering this particular portion of width as BF minus BW and the depth as DF. And the stresses are uniform here. And the second part is going to be considered as a rectangular beam. So this portion is what I am going to consider here. So let me draw this particular rectangular portion here. So we are going to have the reinforcement here, that is AST. So what will be here? This is nothing but the breadth of the web, which is BW, and the distance from here to the center of the reinforcement, it is going to be the effective depth. So now first let us find out the compressive forces, okay, for this particular beam. So what will be the total compressive forces? The total compressive forces will be equal to the compressive force in this rectangular beam of width BW and effective depth D, and this particular beam, okay, of width BF minus BW and depth DF. So let me write down the compressive forces. So for this, what it will be? It will be, so the total compressive forces is equal to 0.36 FCK B. Here what is B here? B is the breadth of the web. So I have to substitute BW in place of B. 0.36 FCK BW into XU limit. Because here we are considering a balanced section. Plus, for this particular portion, we are going to find out the compressive force. So force is stress into area. So what is the stress? In concrete, it is 0.45 FCK stress into area for this. So it is BF minus BW into DF. So these will be your total compressive forces. So then what will be the total tensile force? The total tensile forces will be, as usual, it is 0.87 Fy into AST. So these will be your total compressive forces and this will be your total tensile forces, which is 0.87 Fy into AST. Now let us find out the moment of resistance. Now let us calculate the moment of resistance. So the moment of resistance, that is mu, with respect to concrete, will be equal to 0.36 FCK BW into XU limit into the lever arm. So for this, what will be the lever arm, which we have already learned? It is D minus 0.42 XU limit plus, okay, 0.45 FCK into BF minus BW into DF into the lever arm. So here what we have to find out the lever arm. So how we'll find out the lever arm here? So how we'll find out the lever arm? So at what distance will this DF will act, that is the compressive force will act? It will be, the compressive force will be acting at a distance of, that is at the center of CG it will be acting, that is half the distance, because it is a rectangular part. That is, it will be df by 2. So what will be the lever arm here? The lever arm here will be here. What is the distance? D minus df by 2. So here it will be D minus df by 2. So this is how you can calculate the moment of resistance with respect to concrete. In the similar way, you can find out the moment of resistance with respect to steel also as 0.87 Fy into AST into the lever arm Z. So for this, what will be the lever arm? It will be D minus 0.42 XU, and for this the lever arm will be D minus df by 2. So, or you can also write it down this as 0.87 Fy into AST1. You can divide it into 2. D minus 0.42 XU limit plus 0.87 Fy into AST2 into the lever arm D minus df by 2. So with these two, you can find out the moment of resistance for the case 1. Now let us consider the case 2b. So what is the case 2b? What we have here? If df by d, if it is greater than 0.20, that is if df by d, if it is greater than 0.20. If I am considering this, what is happening here? Our stress block is a bit changing. So first let us draw the stress block for this particular case, when df by d is greater than 0.20. So let us draw the stress block. So how will be the stress block? Similar way, you are going to have the tensile force here, the neutral axis is here, and what is happening here? df is more. So the stress here will be 0.45 FCK. Now DF is greater than this distance, that is the 3/7 XU, and this distance is how much? It is 4/7 XU. Now the DF is greater than 3/7 XU is here. So what is happening here in the flange? If you see this flange, the flange is not uniformly stressed. So you have the stresses in the rectangular portion as well as the some part of the parabolic portion. The stresses in the parabolic portions are also observed in the flange. So if you see this, what you have? You have in this particular flange, you have stresses in the parabolic part as well, stresses in the rectangular part as well as the stresses in the parabolic part. So here what? The stress distribution is not uniform. So here is the case in which the flange is not uniformly distributed. So here is the case what? The flange is not uniformly distributed. Okay, so we have stresses in the rectangular as well as the parabolic part. So for such a kind of case, what they have done is they have considered an equivalent depth as YF where the stresses are considered more equally uniform. Okay, that is the stresses here are considered as nearly uniform. So let that particular part be this and this particular distance is considered as YF. So for this particular thickness of the flange DF, they have considered an equivalent depth of the flange as YF where all the stresses are nearly uniformly distributed, and they have given a formula for calculating this particular equivalent depth of the flange YF. So the formula for calculating the equivalent depth of the flange is YF is equal to 0.15 XU plus 0.65 DF. So by using this particular equation, we can find out the equivalent depth of the flange, which is substituted by DF. So in place of DF, what we have to do here? We have to substitute YF. So because YF is considered as the equivalent depth of the flange where the stresses are nearly uniformly distributed. So for that reason, wherever you have the DF, in that place we have to substitute this particular equation YF. So here is what? Here you have DF. So in place of DF, let me substitute YF, and this distance will be YF by 2. So the similar equations we have for calculating the moment of resistance, but the thing is the same procedure, everything is the same, but the thing is in place of DF we have to substitute YF. So let me substitute that in place of DF, and this will become YF, and this is also going to become YF. In the similar way, here also this is going to become YF. So these two, and how YF is calculated? YF is calculated by using this equation. So as it is a balanced section, XU will be here, will be equal to the XU limit. So these are the two equations for calculating the moment of resistance with respect to concrete and as well as with respect to steel when df by d is greater than 0.20. Now let us see the case 3. So what is the case 3? Case 3 is when the neutral axis lies in the web and if the section is under reinforced. So if it is an under reinforced section. Now let us analyze the flange beam. So here also I am considering a T section. So T section is considered here. So this will be your width of the flange. This is going to be your this is your effective depth of the flange, and this is going to be your depth of the flange. You're going to provide the area of steel, which is AST, and the distance from the topmost compression fiber to the center of the reinforcement is going to be your effective depth, and this is going to be your breadth of the web. Now what? The neutral axis is lying in the web. So let us suppose somewhere over here the neutral axis is lying N. So what will be the distance? The distance will be x u. As it is an under reinforced section, xu will be xu. So anywhere you have the neutral axis depth, the same xu has to be placed. But if it is a balanced section or if it is an over reinforced section, xu will be replaced with xu limit. The limiting value of the neutral axis depth has to be used there. But for here, the neutral axis depth as usual has to be used because it is an under reinforced section. So now first let us draw the stress block. So you already learned how to draw the stress block. We are going to have the tensile forces. Here you are going to have the compressive forces. And the stress block, it will be parabola up to 0.002 strain and 0.0035 strain up to it will be linear, and the stress here will be 0.45 FCK, and here you are going to have the compressive force C. So this is going to be your stress block. Now considering an under reinforced section, we have two more cases in this. So the case 1 being if df, that is the thickness of the flange, if it is less than 3/7 xu, if it is less than or equal to 3/7 xu is one case, or you can also write it down this as df by xu is less than or equal to 3/7. And the other one is when df is greater than 3/7 xu, or you can also write it down as df by xu is greater than 3/7. Similar cases what we have previously. So if the thickness of the flange or the depth of the flange, if it is less than this distance, that is a rectangular block, 3/7 xu is one case, and the other case is when the depth of the flange, it is more than 3/7 xu. So based on these two cases, we are going to analyze this particular T-beam section. So for that, in the similar way, as I have done, I am going to consider the first case, that is if depth of the flange is less than or equal to 3 by 7 XU. So if that is DF is less than this, that is this distance is going to be 3 by 7 XU and this distance is going to be 4 by 7 XU. Okay, so if you consider this particular rectangular part, what is happening? That is the flange is uniformly stressed because the stresses here in this particular rectangular block are uniform, and we have considered the condition, that is the depth of the flange, it is less than this distance. Is it or not? So what is happening? The stresses in this particular flange are uniform, that is this particular flange is uniformly stressed. So this is one condition where the flange is uniformly stressed. Flange is uniformly stressed. And the other case is when the depth here is more than 3 by 7 XU. So in such kind of cases, what you will have? This particular flange will have both the rectangular portion as well as the parabolic portion. That is the stresses in the rectangular portion as well as the stresses in the parabolic portion. So here what? The flange is not uniformly stressed. That is the flange here is not uniformly stressed because DF is greater than 3 by 7 XU. Now in the similar way as we have done for a balance section, we have to calculate the moment of resistance for considering this condition as well as considering this condition. So first we will find out the moment of resistance considering this condition, that is when the depth of the flange is less than or equal to 3 by 7 XU. So now what? Here the depth of the flange is less than or equal to 3 by 7 XU. So what is happening? That is the particular flange is within this rectangular portion. So it is what? This flange is uniformly stressed. So let me divide this particular T section into two parts. So one part is going to be only this portion, that is I am going to remove the rectangular portion. So what will this be? Here the depth will be DF and the width will be BF minus BW, similar way, and the other one is going to be the rectangular portion. So the rectangular portion, here we are going to have the area of steel. This is going to be the breadth of the web, and this distance is going to be the depth, effective depth D. So now you know the compressive forces as well as the tensile forces. So directly let us calculate the moment of resistance with respect to concrete. So what it will be? 0.36 FCK B, here will be BW into XU, not XU limit because it is an under reinforced section, into D minus 0.42 XU plus, for this particular portion it will be 0.45 FCK into BF minus BW into DF into the lever arm. What will be the lever arm here? It will be D minus DF by 2. That is this distance by half, because the compressive force is going to act here. That is DF by that distance. So this is how we are going to calculate the moment of resistance with respect to concrete, and in the similar way you are going to calculate the moment of resistance with respect to steel as 0.87 Fy into AST into Z, that is the lever arm. So the lever arm here, for that it is going to be d minus 0.42 XU, and for this it is going to be d minus dF by 2. So by using these two equations, we can calculate the moment of resistance with respect to concrete as well as with respect to the steel for an under reinforced section. So as it is an under reinforced section, everywhere you are going to consider the neutral axis depth itself. XU will be XU. You cannot replace it with the XU limit. Okay, XU will be XU. Now this is when dF is less than or equal to 3 by 7 XU. Now let us see when dF is greater than 3 by 7 XU. Now let us see the next one. When dF is greater than 3 by 7 XU, or you can also write dF by XU is greater than 3 by 7. So if this particular dF is more than 3 by 7 XU, what is happening? The stress block here is varying. How the stress block is varying? So how the stress block is varying here? We can draw it. That is we are going to have the tensile force, we are going to have the compressive force. If you see here, this dF, this is the rectangular portion and this is going to be the so in this particular flange, that is the thickness of the flange dF, you are going to have both the stresses in the rectangular portion as well as the stresses in the parabolic portion. So for that reason, what we are going to do, we are going to take an equivalent depth of the flange where the stresses are nearly uniformly distributed. So what will be the equivalent depth of the flange? That is the equivalent depth of the flange YF is considered, and we are going to calculate that. Okay, YF by using an equation. YF is equal to 0.15 XU plus 0.65 dF. So by using this equation, we can calculate the equivalent depth of the flange. So what we have to do here, in this particular case, we are going to replace the dF with YF. So this will be YF and the distance half will be YF by 2. So the same equations, in the same equations we are going to replace the dF with YF. So this will be YF and this is also going to be YF. So these are the two equations for calculating the moment of resistance when we have considered that the depth of the flange is greater than 3 by 7 XU. Now let us see the case 4. So what is the case 4? The case 4 is when the neutral axis lies in web and the section is over reinforced. The section is over reinforced. So when the neutral axis is lying in the web and if the section is over reinforced, we have to use the same equations which we have used for the case 2. The same equations used for case 2 is what we are going to use here also for calculating the moment of resistance. Because there also, as it is an over reinforced section, the XU should be replaced with XU limit. So the same equations for calculating the moment of resistance is used here in for and over reinforced section. So for the balanced section and the over reinforced section, we have the same equations for calculating the moment of resistance, and those equations will be used here. So in this lecture we have seen the 4 cases for the analysis of flange beams. So in the next lecture we will see the problems on flange beams. Thank you.